wanted to talk to our Legal Director, Dianne Post, about some of the basics of our legislative session here in Arizona. And specifically, I want to talk about some of the bills that we have coming down the hopper. But first, maybe we should define what is the hopper, Dianne, and when does it open, and who can put bills in there?
Well, it opens different times. It just means that legislators can pre-file bills. There has some years ago they passed a maximum on the number of bills that a legislator can file during the year in order to reduce the insane number of bills that were being filed. So then they also passed a way to get around it. And the way to get around it is pre-file the bill. So it opens different years, and this year it opened the 15th of November. So you can pre-file a bill from the 15th of November until I believe it's the 1st of January. I'm not exactly positive, but it doesn't go right up to the legislature. It goes to like a week before it starts or something. And then that doesn't count for their bill total. So you
Oh,
pass a rule to limit the number of bills, and then you pass another rule to completely obliterate that first rule. So
well,
this, yeah, this is the
that
kind of
sounds like our Arizona legislature in a
hey,
nutshell.
this is what passes for thought down there.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so then
And go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
you pre-file, and it's now become sort of a a status symbol. So I understand that Culloden rushed down there at midnight and forced the staff to open up the place so he could be the first one to file that anti-voting bill. Yeah,
That is that's hilarious because in my experience in tracking legislative antics, and probably in yours too, his very own LD mate, Senator John Kavanaugh, seems to like to be the first one to always file his bills. So I wonder if, insider baseball, maybe there's a little bit of hard feelings there.
but he's in the Senate and he's in the House and Kavanaugh's in the Senate. So Kavanaugh
Mm.
could for was no Kavanaugh wasn't number one. No, Bollock was. She filed the partner bill to Culloden's in the Senate first. So she got the number one spot in the Senate. So it seems to have become some kind of a competition among those trying to show who has the biggest something or another that we don't need to go into. So that just means it's pre-filed. It's thrown into a box, a hopper, a file, whatever you would like to call it. They call it the hopper. All right. So how do they number them? And this is funny because I had a little lesson with my intern who's 15 years old and learning all of this stuff. And I explained all Senate bills are SB something and all House bills are HB something, and they start chronologically. So the Senate being, of course, superior, back in the day, which of course I could explain if you like, are 1001, 1002, etc. And the House, since it's the people's house, supposedly closer to the people and representing the rabble, as opposed to the lords in the Senate, it is 2001, 2002, etc. And she just thought that was very interesting. Well, I never understood that before. Okay, there we go. So that's how and why they're named the way that they are. And that's how you identify them and you know what's what and who's who.
Okay, and then really briefly, if you could tell us the difference between, say, I see HCM, HCR, and HM. That means H, again, means that it's coming from the House, but what did those three different designations mean, and how binding are they, that kind of stuff?
Okay. House Concurrent Resolution, HCR. Again, it depends on what the content is, but usually the resolutions are passed to then go on the ballot. So that is a way, and that's what Culloden has done with his anti-voting bill. He wants to avoid Hobbs because he knows the governor will veto it. So he's trying to get it passed as a concurrent resolution, which does have to be, if it's concurrent, it's got to be through both. So that's why Bollock filed the identical resolution in the Senate. Then if it passes, then it goes on the ballot, and Hobbs can't stop it from going on the ballot. So a resolution is dangerous. Okay, a resolution is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
A memorial, an HCM, House Concurrent Memorial. I think it's memorial, right? I think
I
so.
think you're right about that.
It is a message from the Arizona legislature to Congress. And there's a number of them defunded. I mean, a number of them filed already, and they're all to defund. It's a message to Congress. Defund the international code.
Oh,
We don't belong to them.
The Muslim
Yeah.
Brotherhood, CAIR, as and designate them as terrorist organizations. So this
Designate
is
them as
their way.
defund this, defund that. They're just messages from Arizona legislature saying, we think you should do this, Congress, and just a memorial to them. So they're nasty, they're bad, they're mean spirited, and they're often stupid. I love this teenage girl I got because I sent her those bills. I said this was the beginning, and she said, "Are they all this stupid?" Which I thought, oh, it's absolutely perfect. I said, well, no, but a lot of them are, but this, not all of them are. So they are messages from Arizona to Congress telling them to do something. So they are not that serious because Congress may or may not ever do any of it. And Congress isn't really going to care what the state legislature says. They're going to care what the voters say because that's who keeps them in. Actually, they don't give a damn what the voters say either. They really care what the funders tell them to do. And so, they're bad, they're nasty. They show the kind of mentality the supporters have, but they're limited.